This coming Tuesday, we will be watching primary elections in 3 states, Alaska, Florida, and Wyoming. But there will be a special focus on my own home state, the battleground of Florida. For one thing, it'll be the first primaries since Florida Republicans adopted a congressional map aimed at giving them anywhere from 2 to 4 additional seats in Congress relative to the prior map. And let's look at some of the important races, starting with governor, where the Republican primary to replace Ron DeSantis has been like wild. Republican Congressman Byron Donalds has Trump's endorsement, which could be enough, but the crowded field also includes the lieutenant governor, who Governor DeSantis has not actually endorsed. And then there is a man named James Fishback, who is also running. Fishback, for those unfamiliar, has been openly racist and anti-Semitic in his campaign. At one point, he even called Congressman Donalds a pretty blatantly racist slur. The infighting has led some to believe that the GOP's hold on the state might be a little less tight than it seems. On the congressional side, one of the seats Republicans hope to flip with their redrawn maps is Florida's 25th district, which moved 14 points to the right via redistricting. Based on previous boundaries, the district voted for Kamala Harris by 5 points in 2024, but within the district's new boundaries, Trump would have won the district by 9 points. Yet, the Cook Political Report rates this as a toss-up, and 2 Democrats are fighting a spirited, shall we say, primary for the chance to keep the seat. Oliver Larkin, a Democratic Socialist, is challenging incumbent Democratic Congressman Jared Moskowitz. He currently represents the 23rd district, but is running in the 25th. Moskowitz is following the redistricting. Moskowitz has not given Larkin too much air, declining to debate him. Larkin has had to get a bit more creative with getting the word out, touting a strong door-knocking operation, but also becoming, of all things, a mainstay on Fox News. Watch.
Here to try and defend his, agenda, Florida Democratic congressional candidate Oliver Larkin. Somebody that makes $500 grand a year, $500,000 a year, how much out of every dollar should they be able to keep?
It is in proportional to the top marginal tax rate.
Give me a number.
Where if you're making
Oliver, give me a number.
We're building a coalition for our collective liberation to stand up against anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, anti-black racism, anti-queer discrimination.
Joining me now is Oliver Larkin, activist, union organizer, and Democratic candidate for Congress in Florida's 25th congressional district. So, Oliver, thanks for joining us. Why do you believe you are the strongest candidate for this seat?
Well, it really is embodied in this enormous Get Out the Vote rally we're having just outside of where I'm coming to from, in the back room of a bar in downtown Fort Lauderdale. We've got an enormous rally with Gen Z for Change, the Florida Youth Justice Coalition, and I think it is this youth voter mobilization that it is really going to take for us to win a seat like Florida's 25th congressional district. While Donald Trump won it in 2024, this is also a seat that Joe Biden won in 2020, and it's a seat with about an even plurality of Republican, Democrat, and independent voters. And when we look at non-party affiliated voters, increasingly young people are not registering with either political party. They're registering as independents because the trust has been broken with the corporate wing of the Democratic Party, the prioritization of taking corporate campaign donations over fighting for bold universal policies like Medicare for all, like free college tuition, like a $25 an hour minimum wage. And that's what we've been campaigning on, and that's really what's been resonating and what's built such tremendous momentum behind our movement. And that's not only going to carry forward through August 18th, it's going to carry forward through November 3rd and winning the general election.
Well, but the district has gotten a lot redder after Republicans redrew maps. The primary candidate you're running against, Congressman Moskowitz, is known as a relatively moderate Democrat. This is a moderate district. Why would a Democratic Socialist be the right person to keep the seat blue come the general?
I think a Democratic Socialist is a more palatable option than someone who describes himself as a 2-time appointed Ron DeSantis Democrat. Jared Moskowitz is the only sitting member of Congress to be appointed to office by a sitting governor of the opposite political party. This is the only Democrat in our state who voted for the pro-ICE Laken Riley Act after Donald Trump campaigned on mass detention and deportation. This is a district with about 25% to 30% of voters who are Latino from diverse communities in Central and South America and the Caribbean. And when we look at what is motivating Democratic voters and increasingly independent voters in this primary election and in the general election, it is opposition to DOJ, it's opposition to ICE, it is resonating with our campaign of abolishing ICE, of taking on this billionaire-backed effort to dismantle the federal government. And I think this is resonant not only with Democratic voters, but with independents and increasing number of Republicans that do not like to see a paramilitary secret police force that is descending upon our district and really violating our civil and constitutional rights.
So, just as a follow-up on that, 60% of the voters in your district are 50 or older, not exactly a population usually associated with sympathy for socialism of any flavor. It's a relatively wealthy area, it's a relatively Jewish area, and you are sharply anti-Israel, supporting the BDS movement, among other things. It seems like the least likely place where your message would resonate. Again, in the general, I hear what you are saying about the primary campaign. So you've touted your campaign's door-knocking operation. How are you going to make inroads with voters, given the demographics that you know do not seem to lend themselves to a lot of the policy positions that you and the DSA hold?
When we look at what voters in this district are struggling with, there is an out-of-control property insurance crisis that is affecting voters in our state from the flooding and hurricane insurance rates going up. We're seeing nearly 24 homeowners insurance companies leave the state of Florida. So when we talk about a Green New Deal and we talk about a federal homeowners insurance guarantee, in Florida, it's because of flooding and hurricanes. And the interior West, it's because of wildfires. In the Midwest, it's tornadoes and drought conditions. But all across the country, we need stabilization of property insurance rates. And I think that's something where if we embrace the power of the federal government, as our campaign is, then we can provide solutions to every level of the homeowners market, the rental market. These costs get passed on from homeowners to landlords and renters that are absorbing these inflated costs. With the state of Florida, the Republicans in Tallahassee are not doing anything to address these needs. And when we look at some of the most popular policies in the United States, like Medicare or like Social Security, these are popular programs that Republicans are attempting to dismantle. So when we talk about scrapping the cap on taxable income for Social Security so that billionaires and the wealthy pay their fair share into this program, it's a popular program, but it's regressively taxed. Working class people pay more into the system than the wealthy do. And this is a policy that will resonate with older voters, that will raise the cost of living adjustments and make sure that people who come to South Florida to retire, to buy their retirement homes, they can actually afford to keep their homes and they can afford the cost of living on fixed incomes when we're adjusting the taxation policy in this country to make sure that it benefits working class citizens, including retirees.
So before we go, you told the Florida Phoenix of your opponent, Moskowitz, quote, he's got one mode, and that's bipartisanship. And I don't think Democratic voters are looking for bipartisanship with an administration that is gutting our civil and constitutional rights. So will you be flatly against ever working across the aisle if elected to Congress?
No, it's about the kind of bipartisanship that we're talking about. And when I look with great admiration at Representative Ro Khanna and Representative Thomas Massie on passing the Epstein Files Transparency Act or implementing the Iran War Powers Resolution in Congress, I think these are areas where Democrats and Republicans can agree. Donald Trump ran on ending endless wars, and yet we see this disastrous, catastrophic 6-month war with Iran, this illegal war that has been carried out without the consent of Congress. And we're spending $1 to $2 billion a day. And the fact that Congressman Moskowitz called this War Powers Resolution the Ayatollah Protection Act, at the same time that as a sitting member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, he bought Lockheed Martin stock on 4 separate occasions in the lead up to this war and has continued purchasing defense stock since this war began. I don't think that's anything that voters, Republican, Democratic, or Independent, think is palatable in our district. Regardless of people's political party registration, we can all agree that there is a corruption problem in Congress. There's a congressional stock trading problem. And my policy of rejecting corporate PAC donations, of rejecting APAC, AI, cryptocurrency, I think this is something that can cut through the partisan divide and really unite people in a district like ours, a toss-up race, and show a new way forward for the Democratic Party, that we can run on progressive issues, that we don't need to moderate just to win toss-up districts, that we can actually stand on our Democratic Party values. And I think that's something that voters across Florida will resonate with. And I think that's a lesson that the National Democratic Party did not heed in 2024 when Kamala Harris moderated and lost every single swing state in the country. We need young people to be energized, and that's what we're doing here with this rally tonight. And I think that's what our policy platform represents and why we feel that we stand a great chance to win, not just on Tuesday, but on November 3rd.
Thank you so much, Oliver Larkin, Democratic candidate for Congress in Florida's 25th Congressional District. Coming up,
thank you so much.
How the Republican candidates in the race for the Florida governor's mansion may be raising the odds of a surprising Democratic victory, and remarks today